Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kingdom Come Deliverance. My name's Camel, and I did have a super ultimate starter guide for you, which I still do have, but basically I've been working on this video for about 5 days now, and they patched a bunch of the stuff that I had in the guide, so you can't do it anymore. So what I've done is I've got rid of all the stuff that they patched, and I've left in all of the things you still can do, and you can still get a really damn good start to the game. Some things you might find a lot harder, specifically all of the combat stuff, but you still can do it. I did go through and test this entire beginning again after the patch, and all the stuff that is left in this video you still can do. So with that said, you will end up with around 150,000 gold worth of stuff once you get out of the prologue, which is really awesome and will get you off to an amazing start to Kingdom Come Deliverance. And before we get into it, if there are any inconsistencies or anything where you're like, that doesn't really make sense, again, it's probably because I had to cut a giant chunk of the video out. But everything in this video still works and you still can do. Now, just as proof here, as you can see, I've just come out of the prologue and I have all of this gear to sell or use or throw in the river. The point is, you'll have all of it too. Now, timestamps for each of the sections in this guide can be found down in the description, along with links to my social media and to my other Kingdom Come Deliverance guides. Be sure to check them out. Now, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So firstly, when you wake up at home and you speak to your dearest mother, once you're out of that conversation, eat from the pot and run outside. Don't speak to father yet because this starts the quest, and when you start a quest it saves the game, and we'll need to keep all the saves we can for later use. Now just quickly, there are two other things I want to show you, but they aren't necessary at all. Firstly, when you go for your sword fight lesson, at the end when he asks you to do combo moves, you can simply just not do combo moves and leave pauses between your attacks. This will prolong the sword practice and allow you to level up your sword strength, warfare agility, and vitality skills. And secondly, herbalism. Herbs are a great way to get all of the gold from the merchants in the town. I picked up every single herb around town and ended up with a herbalism level of 17. This took about 30 minutes, but ultimately was worth it. Now, you can level up your herbalism skill at any point in the game. It's not unique to this starting prologue bit, but again, having thousands of herbs to sell to the merchants in town is a great way to juice the gold out of them. Also, there are some lovely perks that come with herbalism that will be very useful throughout the entire game, so the sooner you get them, the better. And one more thing, you can get a perk called Leg Day in herbalism, which now levels up your strength skill when you pick herbs. But apart from that, there are actually some other cool perks, like you can sell all herbs for 15% more. Again, when you're selling 10,000 of them, an extra 15% makes a damn difference. There's a flower power perk that gives you +2 charisma if you've got like 5 flowers in your inventory. There's one that makes your horse less shy, and there's also a resistance one, which I do believe increases your vitality permanently. Again, you can do this at any point in the game, but it's a very nice thing to start off the game with, and you can do it all here in this village. Now, around this point, you might notice that your bags are getting a bit heavy, so make sure to go back to your house and drop all of the stuff you don't need to carry into the chest right next to where you wake up and start the game. This chest plays a big part in this technique, as anything you put in there will stay there. So it's a safe place for you to put all of the goods that you're going to be collecting throughout the start of this prologue. So whenever your bags get full, come back up to this chest, drop everything in, then get back out there and loot the damn village. Which brings us to the next point: robbing the village of everything it's worth. So, as we've discovered, the guards in town, the traders, shop guards, and Kunesh have a chance of resisting being choked out. However, every other villager has a 100% chance of being choked out. So, of course, what we want to do is KO every single villager we can. Again, it's very important. Make sure no one sees you go into sneak mode. Make sure no one sees you choke someone out. Make sure no one sees you holding the body, and make sure no one sees you looting the body. Don't get caught and just start choking out the entire goddamn village. Now, there are some people you won't be able to choke out. There are some people you literally can't mechanically, the game won't let you, but there are also 10 or so people in the center of the village, and you can't choke them out simply because you will get caught doing it every single time. But apart from these people, there are a lot of villagers that just walk around the fields, walk around the alleys, walk around the back streets, and when you see someone like this, again, check no one's watching and choke that sucker out. This is great because you'll actually be leveling your stealth skill while doing this. Now this is interesting because technically you could get your stealth skill up to 20 by continuously and repeatedly choking the villagers out. However, this would take a very, very damn long time, and I would not suggest it. Now there's two main reasons we want to choke all of these villagers out. Firstly, we can get all of their stuff from their bodies, which has a value and we'll be able to sell it at a later point. Again, when your bags get too heavy from all your stolen goods, just dump it all in the chest in your house that I showed you a minute ago. We won't be able to sell the items we steal off people because they will be labeled as stolen items. So anything you do steal, dump it in the chest. Now the second reason we want to knock people out and steal their stuff is because you might have noticed that everyone's, or almost everyone's houses, have locked front doors. And even if you do get inside, there are usually locked chests as well. Now lockpicking at the start of the game is next to impossible. I do have a guide for lockpicking if you want to check out how to make it easy for yourself. But forget lockpicking in this situation, because everyone carries a set of keys to their house and a set of keys to the trunks in their house. So walk around town, choke people out, steal their stuff, then while they're down, and again while no one's watching, sneak into their house and steal absolutely everything. All of the food, all of the alcohol, but most importantly, all of the deliciously priced items that are hidden away in their trunks. I mean, seriously, think about it. You know what happens to this town. They won't be needing their belongings better than we get it. So soon enough, half the villagers will be naked and all of their houses will be empty. Again, all the stolen stuff, dump it in the chest in your house. Now you can also choke out the guards, as we know, we did it earlier, but this is a lot riskier because, as we know, they can resist being choked out. However, with great risk comes great value. We're talking like over 1,000 golds worth of items each time you knock out a guard and steal their stuff. So what I do is steal everything from the villagers and their houses, then save the game, then start getting into knocking out guards because it's much riskier. And if anything goes wrong, you can just load that recent save. Now here's something interesting. If you get caught trying to choke out a guard or caught doing anything at all, what you can do is actually surrender yourself, pay the fine that the guard's asking you to pay. Then once the guard turns around, you guessed it, make sure no one's watching and choke that sucker out. Now once they go down from their body, you can loot their gear and all of the money that you just paid to them as a fine. So again, even if you do get caught, you can actually get away with it in a sense. Now eventually, after knocking out a bunch of people and a bunch of guards, things get a bit risky because soon the whole village will be scared of you and people just start paying way more attention to you and what you're doing. Even if you manage to never get caught, the villagers just start getting suspicious when you're near them, and especially because you're the only one in the village left with clothes. Now there is another technique for getting infinite weapons as well. When you knock out a guard and steal all of their stuff, when they wake up, they will spawn new weapons. So of course, technically, you can continue to choke out the guards and steal their new weapons, wait for them to wake up, and they'll spawn new weapons. You can just rinse and repeat this technique. Again, this is one of those, technically you can do it, but I would not suggest it. As remember, you have limited saves within the town, so ironically, save the saves for the very important things. Soon enough, half the town will be walking around naked in underwear because you've stolen all of their stuff. Remember, go into every house, get everything you can. Now, the craziest thing I did pull off was taking out the Bailiff. When you loot him, you'll get like 1,700 golds worth of clothes and stuff off him, so it's definitely worth doing it if you're up for a challenge. I mean, I even impressed myself because this was so damn hard. This is one of those save the game before trying things. So the Bailiff will be out the front of the tavern where Bianca works. He will be drinking there with his friend. This makes things difficult. Now making it even more difficult is a woman sitting across from the tavern. So, firstly, we'll need to take this woman out. It's very hard and requires timing and luck, as you need to wait until both the Bailiff and his mate are looking towards the center of town, away from the woman. Now while they're looking over there, choke this lady out and drop her body. You can loot it if you like, of course, just be sure not to get caught. So now that she's out of the picture, we need to go over to the bailiff's table where he's drinking. We need to stand behind them and wait for Bianca to bring out their drinks. This happens about once a minute. Now once Bianca, dearest Bianca, pours both of their drinks, they'll cheers and take a few mouthfuls. We have to wait a second because we need to wait for Bianca to walk back inside so that she can't see us committing a crime. Now this is what needs excellent timing. The millisecond one of them reaches to take another gulp of their ale, what you need to do is choke the other person out. The reason for this is because while the character's doing the drinking animation, they're not looking at the person next to them. This gives you a very tight window of opportunity to choke the other person out. So as soon as that one person has been knocked unconscious, you have about a second in which you can then shift over to the other person and choke them out. This did take me a few goes to get it, but I got it. Again, loot both of their corpses very quickly, and again, make sure no one sees you do it. As mentioned before, the bailiff will be carrying roughly like 1,500, 1,700 golds worth of clothes alone, so it's definitely worth your time if you're feeling up for the challenge. So the last part of this all, go back to your chest in your house, take everything out, then only place back into it all of the items marked as stolen. Once we've done that, this will mean that everything left in our inventory is items that are not considered to be stolen and therefore can be sold safely to the merchants within the town without causing a fuss. Oh, and also before heading down to the market, make sure to loot everything out of your own house, as there's a lot of valuable food items that we can sell down the market. So once you have everything that is sellable and isn't stolen, make your way down to the merchants in the center of town. Sell everything you can and make sure to buy any and all savior snaps you can. Again, the more saves we have available to us, the better. So there's Bianca, there's 4 merchants out in the street, and there's also a general trader. There is also the charcoal seller, but he has basically no money. So sell everything you can and get all of the gold from the merchants. Now if the merchants do run out of gold and you still have a bunch of stuff to sell to them, what you can do is buy valuable items from the merchants and then sell them back the value of that valuable item with just vegetables or something like that. For example, carrying a repair kit that's worth 50 gold and weighs 2 pounds is better than carrying 50 gold's worth of vegetables that weighs 200 pounds. You see what I mean? If the merchants do run out of gold, which they will do, trade your crappy items for their better items. Now once you're done at the market, and are also done robbing the town of everything it's worth and leveling up your herbalism, if you want to level that up, it's time to get out of this god-forsaken town. Trust me, been making this video for like 5 days, I'm sick of this village. Now before we leave though, dump absolutely everything into the chest in your house. Don't worry, we're going to come back to this at a later point in the prologue and get everything back. But for now, we want to make sure we have the biggest carry weight available, as we're about to go and take out half of the Cuman army. So we need as much free space as we can get. So once you've put everything back into the chest, go and speak to Father, collect the items for him, and end the prologue. Now the last chance we have to save is when we get the nails for Teresa. I would suggest saving the game here because the next stage of this guide is pretty risky and actually pretty crazy. So once you save, give Teresa the nails and this will end the an unexpected visit quest. Just skip through all of the cutscenes and then this will bring us to the quest Run. So the Cumans have attacked and will be outside the fort and will need to run as the quest suggests. Well, you know what, let's not run. Instead, let's juice the area of everything it's worth. Now, instead of running down the hill, turn around and we'll have our first Cuman to fight. Now, I will admit, this guy is really hard to kill. Luckily, as soon as you exit the fort, the game saves, so if you try and kill him and fail and get killed, or you have almost no health left, you can just reload to right where you come out, just before fighting him. So I did this about 10 times before I killed him and was satisfied with how much health I had left. The health thing's important because there's a cutscene later on where you slowly bleed out, so the more health you have left, the better. Now if you do just keep getting crumped by this guy, you can keep reloading, or you can load back to before you give Teresa the nails and you can get some of the armor out of the chest that you left in the house, and then go out and fight this guy. Or you can just ignore this guy and run down the hill. So if you did kill him, Make sure to put on all of his armor, because it's going to protect you, because we're about to go and fight like 50 dudes. And if you can't kill him, just run down the hill anyway. Now at the bottom of the hill, we'll see a bunch of Cumans trying to get into Teresa. What you want to do is run down to your horse and jump on it. Normally I would just leg it, but no, what we're going to do is stay and fight. Now as much as you can, it's very important that you stay on your horse, as mounted combat is super OP. And guess what? We're fighting ground troops. So we actually do have the upper hand. They've got the numbers, but again, we've got the power. I did actually find it quite hard to get used to the hang of using the horse, and it admittedly took me about 5 minutes to take out all of these Cumans here. But with the combination of a horse, elite sword skills, and the protection of the Cuman armor that we are wearing, this should be no problem. 2 things though. Make sure to keep galloping, this way they won't be able to knock you off because you're moving too fast for them to do anything. And if they do manage to knock you off, make sure to jump straight back onto the horse so you don't get swamped. You want to keep the upper hand in battle. Now after doing this for a while, for some reason there was 2 guys left that I just could not hit from the horse, so I hopped off the horse and just killed them normally in combat, which was an absolute breeze, which is the opposite of what that first Cuman was. He was a strong wind. But now that we've taken out like 10 Cumans, guess what? Loot all of their corpses. You will get thousands and thousands of gold's worth of gear. Make sure to pick up everything. Now once you've done that, you will be super over encumbered. But guess what? Everything you just picked up off their corpses, drop it on the ground. This will take a minute, and then later on when we pick it back up, it'll take a minute or 2, but it will make this next stage a lot easier and faster. So drop everything onto the ground except the armor that you're wearing. Now before we go wandering around, there are also 2 horses next to the house in which we got our horse. Kill these dirty Cuman horses, as they carry saddles, which will fetch a pretty penny at the market. So once you've done that, go back to the pile, drop the saddles, again freeing up as much carry space as possible. Now instead of going east as the quest wants us to, we are going to go the complete opposite direction and head west, as there is an area that we can explore, full of Cumans. Now I'm just going to show you this so you know. On the map here, this is where we came out and fought the first Cuman. We then came down this hill, jumped on the horse and took out all the other Cumans. Now if we go east, past here, this will trigger the cutscene and we won't be able to get back to this area during this point of the prologue. However, if we go west, we can explore a substantial section. Now it's very important that you stay within the area that I've highlighted, because if you go past this area, there's just an in-game mechanic that will kill you instantly and it will say you were killed by a stray Cuman arrow. So stay within that region and you'll be safe. So with that out of the way, definitely explore this area, because there's dead bodies on the ground that we can loot. There's also a few horses that we can kill and get their saddles, but most importantly, there is an endless supply of spawning Cumans. Now it's interesting, because we are wearing Cuman armor, they think that we are a Cuman and won't attack us. So as soon as they have their backs turned, kill them and loot their corpses, again gaining thousands of gold's worth of items, weapons and armor. This is another one of those technical things where technically you could stay here forever and just get an infinite supply of Cuman weapons and armor. But of course no one's going to do that, so I killed about 4 or 5 foot soldiers, looted their dead bodies and ended up with a hell of a lot of gear. Now you will notice that there are Cumans on horses running around, and despite me trying multiple times, I just could never hit them. However, I managed to do it once, so I can confirm that it is possible, as when this Cuman was trying to run across the bridge on his horse, I managed to take him down and the horse down in a matter of seconds. Again, a very easy way to get tons of valuables. So milk this little gold mine as much as you like, and then once you're done, head back to the horse and the big pile of items that we dropped earlier where we killed all the Cumans. Now you might be thinking, Camel, why didn't we just leave all the gear on the Cumans instead of picking it up and dropping it on the ground? Well, I did this. I killed all the Cumans, left all the gear on them, then walked up, killed all the other Cumans, and when I came back, all the Cuman corpses were gone. Therefore, I lost all the items. That's why we looted their corpses, dropped all the stuff on the ground, and now we're going to pick it up again. This will take a minute or two. But again, there's like 50k's worth of shit here, so definitely worth it. Now, once you're satisfied that you've looted everything that you can from this area and you've killed all the Cumans you want, jump on the horse. And before heading east, make sure to go into your inventory and eat any food that grants health or health recovery, as we'll want as much health as we can for this next bit. So then head east, and one little thing I want to touch on here, there is a horse with a saddle just before the cutscene. Now, I hopped off my horse, and despite stabbing this other horse multiple times, I could never kill it, which is weird because all the other horses that I attacked went down instantly, but this one for some reason just won't die and ends up running away. So I don't know if you can kill it, but regardless, you might want to give it a crack. Either way, jump on your horse and enter the cutscene. Now here, it's inevitable, you cannot skip this or miss this or avoid it. Henry gets shot in the leg by a Cuman mounted archer. From here, you'll start bleeding, just run to Talmberg. It'll take a minute and you should get there with no problems or any issues from the Cumans or the archers hitting you in the backs. I do want to point out though, it is possible to actually take out all of the Cumans in this area. However, they do keep coming, and they do keep coming in greater numbers than you can actually handle. A lot of them are also on horseback, so you'll be getting absolutely pumped. Also, because we're already carrying half of the Cuman army's weapons and armor, if you get knocked off your horse, you'll be walking at the speed of my internet, and you'll be swamped instantly and killed in a matter of seconds. So again, while it is possible to take out some of these Cumans, for this particular guy, don't even try it, you'll just die, it'll be a waste of your time. So again, just run straight to Talmberg. Now once we're here, skip through all of these cutscenes, go have a sleep, skip through the dialogue with this old lass here. Then in the middle of the night, we get woken up. From the bedroom, we'll have to walk up to the wall. This will be a little bit slow because we're super encumbered, again because we're carrying half of the Cuman army's weapon and armor. But don't worry, it'll definitely be worth it in the end. Once here, again, just skip through all the dialogue. We'll be set to patrol the wall, just walk a little bit, and then some guy will come up and say that you can just lean on the wall and wait until the morning. Now instead of just standing there all night, we actually want to use the wait mechanic. Just set it to like midday so it flies through, and then we get woken up. The Cuman army is at Talmberg. So walk down to wherever the quest is telling you to go. It'll enter a cutscene. Skip that. Now we are a kind of free person. The game will also automatically save here. So first thing you want to do is head to the center of town and talk to the merchant Voltava. This is the first merchant we can finally sell some of this gear to. He's also one of 3 lockpick merchants in the game, so you want to buy the 10 lockpicks that he's selling. We'll also need one of them in a minute anyway. So now that he has some of your gold from you buying lockpicks, of course, we want to get that gold back by selling him Cuman armor and weapons. The best way to do this, I would suggest, is go to the armor tab and then sort the armor by value. And you want to sell him the least valuable stuff first. This way, you're getting all of his money anyway, but you're removing a way larger amount of carry weight from your inventory by selling him heaps of crappy items over selling him just one super valuable item. So once that's done, what we'll need to do now is find ourselves a guard uniform so that we can get out of the gate. Now you can either choke out a guard and steal his uniform. Again, this is very risky, although we do have a save file from a minute ago, so if there is a time to take risks, it's now, I suppose. Or you could go into the guard tower next to the stairs, next to the gate to the inner keep. We've been past it like 3 times already. You'll recognize it. And while no one is looking, we can sneak through the door, and right in the middle of this room, there is a very easy level chest right here. What you have to do is lockpick it. Now, if you struggle with this, again, I've got a lockpicking guide that you can check out and it will help you through this. But it is very easy, and you do now have 10 lockpicks, so it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to break all of them and not open this chest. Now, if you do get caught trying to open this, you can just, again, load from that autosave from a minute ago and do it again. So once you open it, steal all the gear from it, and then put the uniform on, and then walk down to the guardsman at the gate. Talk to him and be like, I need to get out of here. He'll be like, there's no way. Then there'll be an option where you can say like, what are you thinking? And he'll say, go and get some guard armor, and then maybe I'll let you through and I'll say I thought you were a guard. Then exit dialogue, and because we're already dressed as a guard now, just talk to him again and he'll be like, I can't let you. Oh wait, I see, it's a guard. Open the gate, let the guard out of the gate, guys. And then you're out, you're free. Now we're still going to be super over encumbered, but it's worth it. Now there are also 4 traders or merchants in Talmberg's outer village that you can slowly crawl to and sell some stuff to. It might be worth your while, it might just be painful crawling through town. Regardless of your choices, then what you want to do is head towards Skalitz. Now as soon as you hit the camp next to Talmberg, you'll enter a cutscene and then teleport straight to a field near Skalitz. This will be the longest, slowest walk you'll ever do in this game. It's not super long, but after this, you're probably not going to become over encumbered in this fashion ever again. So, of course, make your way from where you come out of the cutscene to Skalitz. Now, my theory is, because we're already super over encumbered, might as well loot absolutely everything from everyone I can find and all of the corpse looters that you kill along the way. Just loot everything. You're already over encumbered to the max, you might as well get more items and more gold from it. Now this next bit is optional because you can come back at any point in the game and do this, but it can be super valuable for you as there are thousands upon thousands of golds worth of items here. So as we approach Skalitz, instead of going up to the right, to the hill and into the town, which is what the quest wants us to do, what we want to do is head left. Now, as you may notice, there's a big kind of fortified building with smoke coming out of it over there. That's where we want to go. Just be cautious around here because there are some bandits here that we're going to be killing. But before we get to killing bandits, you want to walk across this stone bridge, and as soon as you can, turn to the right and go down the hill towards the little creek. Hidden here is a chest, a super secret chest. Now in this chest, there's about 3,000, 4,000 golds worth of stuff. We'll pick it up in a minute, but for now, what we want to actually do is dump all of that super heavy Cuman armor that we're carrying around. The reason for this is because we want to be light and mobile because we're about to go and fight some bandits. So just make sure you've got your sword, your shield, and your armor. Everything else, dump it in this chest. We'll be back in a minute. Now, if you've got a couple of saviour schnaps lying around all handy dandy, this is one of those points where you might want to save it. So now we're ready for fighting. We want to walk into this big fortified complex here. I'll just quickly highlight where this is on the map so that you cannot get lost. It's right here, in the green. It's where we are. So now, of course, walk into the complex and kill the bandits. Now, originally, I tried to do this all sneaky and ended up just getting swamped. Once all of the bandits had been taken out, I collected roughly between 10,000 and 50,000 golds worth of stuff from these 6 bandits. Most of them are in heavy armor, which has a pretty high value. And yes, in case you've killed less than 6 bandits, there are 6 bandits here. Some of them do patrol around the area, so keep an eye out for them until you've taken out all 6. There is also a chest here, but it had literally nothing inside it, so don't even worry about it. Now, there is a kind of big area around the town of Skalitz where you can explore. There's pretty much nothing of value to find though, so don't even worry about that. But regardless of your choices, once you're ready to go and you just want to get out of the prologue, make sure that you have everything on you that you want to take with you. So if you've killed the bandits, walk back to this chest where we just hid all of our stuff, open it, take everything out of it, and for the final time, make a really slow walk up to the gate of Skalitz. Okay, so now that we're at the gate of Skalitz, I just want to make it very clear, as soon as you walk through the gate, you'll be locked inside the inner village part until the end of the prologue. So if there's anything that you want to take with you after the prologue, make sure you have it on you before walking through the front gate. So once inside the town, go and find your parents, skip through that. Now what I did, I walked back up to my house to the chest that we placed everything we stole from the village at the start of the video in. The reason I did that is so I can dump all of this super heavy stuff and move around the town freely and faster. Of course, we'll be back in a minute to come and collect all of this. But for the moment, dump all the stuff in the chest and then go and find the spade in which, you'll do that little boxing contest with that goofy German dude. But very importantly, don't dig the grave for your parents. Yet. Don't even think about it. Don't even go near the gravesite. Firstly, you want to loot all the corpses of the villagers. They don't have much on them. It's probably not worth it, to be honest, but if there's 2 people you do want to loot, You want to loot Bianca for her ring, and I do believe she has some savior schnapps on her as well. But near the gate, there is the Bailiff, who, while it won't be on his corpse, next to his hand on the ground will be a sword called Shard, which you can pick up and sell later on. So once you are satisfied that you've gotten everything you want to get out of the village, walk back to your house. Don't dig the grave. Do not dig the grave. Just walk back to your house, go to your chest, and take everything out of the chest. Again, absolutely vital. Before digging the grave, take everything out of the chest and save it. Save it before digging the grave. Because we're carrying so much stuff, a lot of things can go wrong. So if anything does go wrong, you want to make sure that you can load back to this point where you still have all of the items. So once you're carrying everything you want to take with you and you've saved the game for safety, again, I want to make sure you've done it so you don't get mad at me because you spent 6 hours doing this and it all goes wrong. Have everything on you want to take, save the game, then dig the grave. This will enter the final cutscene of the prologue, thank the gods. Now, before we get out into the big wide world, there is one last thing when we have to fight this guy with a mace. It is actually scripted that he beats us. It's impossible to beat this guy, but just so you know, I mean, the more you know, the better. You can actually kill the guys around him and loot them. However, because we're carrying like 1,500 pounds worth of stuff, it's impossible to move during combat, and it's just next to impossible trying to take out the other guys and looting them while carrying this much stuff. But again, technically it's possible, but in this case, just don't even try it. So once you get knocked out, you come and get saved, you get transported to Ratai. And guess what? Thank Jesus, the prologue is over. Just skip through like 10 cutscenes, go through the dream where you run to your parents. Absolutely pointless if you ask me. Keep skipping the talk to Teresa, and then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. We have now been transported from Skalitz to Ratai. Yes, Ratai, on the other side of the map. Ratai, the trading hub. And while we wake up with nothing in our inventory, if we look in the chest next to our bed titled Found, this has everything that was found on our body when we were saved. So if you were carrying all of the stuff from the chest, it'll all now be in here as well. It should be. It may not be, as I did encounter some issues with this transporting of hundreds of pounds of items. Just bear with me because it's important and it could save you some pain. So the first time I exited the prologue, I had 1,400 pounds worth of items. When I got to Ratai, I had 700 pounds of items. So I lost 700 pounds of my stuff. So then I reloaded the save just before digging the grave. Then I tried leaving some of the stuff in the chest back in Skalitz that I could go and pick up later. So I left the prologue with 1,100 pounds of items and then woke up with 900 pounds of items. So I lost 200 pounds of gear. Again, it's not cool, but weirdly, neither is there a pattern to how much stuff I was losing. I honestly think the cause of this is just the game couldn't handle how much stuff I was carrying. So this is the reason I told you to make sure to save before digging the grave. So if this does happen to you, you can just reload from just before the prologue ends and you can try again until it gets better for you. So what I ended up doing was I left all my herbs, all of my food, and my arrows in the chest in Skalitz. This left me with roughly 900 pounds of gear on me, and when I ended the prologue, I woke up with 914 pounds of gear on me. So all I had lost was 36 pounds of gear, which sure beats losing 200 pounds and definitely beats losing 700 pounds worth of items. And I think this was my 4th attempt, and to be honest, losing 36 pounds of gear really didn't bother me. Just be sure to check that all of your gold is still with you. As 2 times I did this, my gold was one of the items that went missing, so I just had 0 gold. Which is not cool when I've already accrued over 2,000 gold at this point. Now I did check this, and if you do leave anything in the chest in your house in Skalitz, you can fast travel back there and all the stuff will still be in that chest. Although transporting hundreds of pounds of gear across the entire map can be a challenge, so it might be an idea to bring a horse up, but just feel reassured that if you do leave anything in the house in Skalitz, it will be there later on. But take what you will, leave what you will. Keep reloading that save until you're happy with what you've got. If you are wondering what to do with all of this stuff, well, Ratai has many merchants you can sell to. I do believe it's the city with the most merchants actually. I mean, we've got a tanner, a bathhouse, a weaponsmith, an armorer, a tailor, a trader, 2 general merchants, another trader, a huntsman, a cobbler, a tavern, and a blacksmith, along with an alchemist, a grocer, a butcher, and some other place with a cow on its sign. I don't know what that place is, but the point is there's many, many merchants in Rattay. And again, the point is you've just transported an unmovable amount of items straight to the biggest trading hub in Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's why we wanted to be carrying as much stuff as we could at the end of the prologue, so it all got carried with us to Rattay. Just as a side note, it might be worth holding off on selling some of the stuff, and instead do some quests in Rattay so that you build up your reputation in the city so that the merchants will give you a better price. But regardless of what you choose to do with it, you can't argue how good it is. I mean, we have elite gear, we have carriages worth of items to sell at the markets and merchants of Rattay. I'm pretty sure that we have over 150,000 gold's worth of gear. I'm not actually brave enough to add it all up. But as you can see in the character's stats sheet, in stolen goods alone, so just the value of the items of the stuff I stole at the start of the game from the village has a value of over 100,000 gold. So then, factor in all of the Cuman gear and the horse saddles and all of the bandit gear and all that stuff from the secret chest, I honestly think we have well over 150,000 gold's worth of items. So there you go. This has been my absolute best start to Kingdom Come Deliverance guide. Now be sure to let me know if you have anything to add to this, and if I do have any footnotes or other things that I left out or changes, I'll leave a comment down below that you can check out. So how awesome is that? I hope that you can all use this guide or elements of it to get your Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough off to a better, stronger, richer, heavier, deadlier start. Honestly, you'll come straight out of that prologue and be able to take out groups of bandits with ease. So have fun with it, and I hope you can make use of it. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Camel, and this has been my ultimate starting guide for Kingdom Come Deliverance. I do hope that this video helped you out, and if it did, you'll be very interested in checking out my other Kingdom Come Deliverance guides. Be sure to check them out. Links to them can be found down in the description. Now down there, in the old description, you can also find links to my social media. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Now if you'd like to support the channel in a more personal way, you can become a heroic patron on Patreon. As I'm sure you know, all of my time and energy goes into making these videos that I create for you to enjoy, so your support is most appreciated and welcomed in any and all forms. So thank you very much for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and I will see you very shortly in the next video. I'll see you there soon.